It's a London derby today as Brentford host West Ham United, and it's a game that West Ham should not take too lightly. If you do look at the bigger picture, you would think that Brentford's in a potential relegation battle due to the amounts of losses they've had and the downturn they've had from the start of the season. There's been a massive contrast between the first 7 games and to this point in the season, but you have to take other things into account and look at the last few games. Brentford's won 3 of the last 4, and it's trying to solidify its Premier League survival so that things aren't going down to the wire. I have to say that as a whole, I really respect Brentford as a football club. I think that it's been through a massive transformation over the years. Having played at Griffin Park, a stadium that was notorious for having a pub on every single corner of the ground, to playing at a new stadium in time to host Premier League football, and having a rapid rise from League One to the Premier League, is all down to a good structured scouting system, an owner who has faith and ability, and a manager who is very good at what he does, and a manager who gets the best out of players and knows what kind of players he wants to bring into his team. I do have a lot of respect for this club. I think it's got a good fan base. It's got very good players. It's got a real good sense of community and tight-knittedness about it. And I don't really have any bad words to say about Brentford Football Club as a whole. Let me talk about them in a nutshell, though, to start with. Brentford started off the season very, very strongly. Its first ever Premier League game was the stuff of dreams, beating Arsenal 2-0 at the Brentford Community Stadium. Brentford lost once in the opening 7 fixtures. This consisted of 3 wins, 3 draws, and a loss. And they actually faced some pretty tough competition. They drew with Aston Villa. They beat Wolves 2-0 at Molineux. And I know I've got to mention it, they beat West Ham 2-1 at the London Stadium thanks to a very late goal in that game. Following that win at the London Stadium October the 3rd, things started to go a little bit wrong and Brentford lost 4 in a row. And since then, consistency has not been their thing at all. And I do talk about consistent teams a lot on this channel, but consistency is what builds your confidence. It's what builds the results and the points as well. Brentford hasn't had that. Results have not been going their way. And although it wasn't as severe as teams below them, Brentford was dragged into a relegation battle. I definitely don't think they are going to be relegated, and it would take a massive downturn for that to even occur. But they did have a lot of concern, and fans were starting to question the manager, fans were starting to question certain players. I think that it's only in the last 4 games that things have really started to pick up, because like I say, they've had some good results. They've beat Norwich 3-1. They beat Burnley 2-0. Those were 2 teams they just had to beat because those teams are way below Brentford. They lost 2-1 against Leicester City, but that was understandable. And then their last game was a surprise yet pleasant 4-1 demolition of Chelsea. Even the line on Chelsea's badge was like, see ya, after that game, I bet. And everyone was just chanting Chelsea get sanctioned everywhere they go, everywhere they go. Vitaly Janelt, Christian Erickson and Joanne Wiese scored all the goals in that game. Janelt had a brace. So they're going to be very confident after that 4-1 win over Chelsea. I mean, who wouldn't be? That's the stuff dreams are made of for a lot of teams that are lower down in the table. That's obviously a big confidence boost, that is for sure. As for my 3 players who are the ones to watch, biggest name I'm going to have to talk about is Ivan Toney. Now, people have questioned whether Toney was suitable for the Premier League, whether he'd be a competent Premier League striker. I think that despite his attitude problems and despite some of the things that he said about Brentford on social media within the last few weeks, Tony has goals in him, and that is a fact. He broke the single-season goal-scoring record in the Championship, which has since been overtaken by Alexander Mitrovic. And Tony is quite a clinical striker. It causes problems for a lot of defences. He is a real instinctive player. And he's in double figures in the Premier League, which isn't that bad to say that he's getting regular game time in the top flight, something that Newcastle United couldn't promise him when he was contracted with them. Second player I'm going to talk about is Christian Eriksen, who has had a, let's say, difficult and very emotional last 12 months. Since he had a terrible, terrible cardiac arrest during Euro 2020, Eriksen returned to full fitness, although there were doubts as to whether he would kick a ball again. And he signed for Brentford on a contract until the end of this season. Whether he stays on or not, I do not know right now. Possibility he does. Eriksen has had quite the comeback. He's scored for his national team, Denmark, and he's scored a few times now for Brentford. He's been a real playmaker and a good asset for Thomas Frank's team. And Brentford fans love him already. I've always liked Christian Eriksen. I think he's a very good attacker of the ball. I think he's got a lot of technical skill about him. He's got a wide range of passing. I do like him a lot. I think he was class when he was a bit younger. He was real world beater player. And now that he's at Brentford, he's trying to get his career back on track. Who knows, he might stay even longer with them. Third player I'm going to talk about is no other than Joanne Wiese. I think I pronounced his surname correctly. He's Congolese international who scored against West Ham when the two teams met at the London Stadium. He scored the winning goal with virtually the last kick of the game. He signed for Brentford on a 4-year contract in August 2021, signing for around £8.5 million. He plays as a forward. He can play as a winger or a number 10. He's got pace, power, intelligence, and a real attacking threat as well. He's a strong, strong player to have on the wing, and that's where he's mainly deployed. As for a player who played for both, it's no other than West Ham's very own Saïd Benrahma. He came to prominence in England due to his time at Brentford. And I must admit, Saïd Benrahma is a good example and a testament of how good Brentford's scouting system is. You may have noticed that Benrahma, Watkins and Mopé were one of the Championship's deadliest trios during the 2018-19 season. All of them were sold on to new clubs and have been sold for a total of around £80 million. The money was invested correctly into buying new players, and although those players were big losses for Brentford, it's not like it was detrimental, because they signed even better or as good talent. Benrahma was a clear fan favourite during his time at Brentford, and he's returning to the team that gave him a chance to play football in England. Benrahma scored against Brentford in a friendly game before the season started, but now he's playing against them in a real competition where points will mean something. As for my score prediction for this, I want to say 2-1 to West Ham, but Brentford are going to be harder to break down than we think, because they have a very good defensive unit. They will attack you when they are really up for it. They like to throw surprises, as we've seen with a few results this season when they've played. And it's hard to know what to expect from Brentford. we are going to get a few surprises in this game, and that's going to make it all the more exciting. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much for tuning into Opposition Uncovered. If you like the video, you know what to do by now. Hit the like button, subscribe for more content, comment below because I do read your comments and they're greatly appreciated and welcome. Thank you very much for watching this. Take care and I'll see you all soon.